You're right, guys. Welcome to Football and Fitness United. My name's James, and you're joining us for the Manchester United versus West Ham match preview, which is tomorrow at Old Trafford at 4:15. And you all know me, but you might not know, is it this side, this gentleman? So do you want to introduce yourself, mate?
Am I sticking on the camera here or what?
Yeah, you are. You're fine.
Thanks, James. Thanks for having me on the stream. Mick Ruby from MUC Realist TV. We were on a stream yesterday together. It was the first time we met yesterday. We kind of clicked. I reached out to you, and here we are. So I'm on Twitter at RubyRedMUFC. Also, like you can see there, my channel recently started. It's basically a channel that allows everyone, no matter who we are in the world, we are wearing the same jersey. No matter where you look yourself in the mirror, the reflection is red, right? So doesn't mean if you're a match-going fan or living in Malaysia, Indonesia, wherever you are, it's just to be real. It's all about people and culture, because we are on a cultural rebuild. So if Erik ten Hag can transform the team and the mentality, so can we fans as well. So I usually say support the team, for fuck's sake.
I couldn't agree more, mate. And just to summarize, so I'm fairly local. I'm a match going fan. I'll be there tomorrow. Whereabouts are you, Mick? Are you going tomorrow?
I wish, mate. I've been a digital nomad for the past 15 years. So I used to be a match going fan, but I tend to catch games away as much as I can. I work a lot, travel a lot. I was at the United pre-tour in Bangkok. Obviously work as a broadcaster as well. Been working 10 years plus as a FIFA football agent intermediate and stuff like that. So, no, I wish, mate. I wish, but you can smuggle me in your suitcase, right? With your thermos of cup of tea or whatever substance you're bringing.
I would try, mate. I would try my best.
No, I'm based in Sweden at the moment, but Friday I'm traveling. So, yeah.
No worries, man. Well, that's the great thing.
The land of Elanga and Lindelof, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And Zlatan, Lindelof, Elanga, Henrik
Zlatan,
Larsson.
yeah.
We've had some great connections. Was Henningberg Swedish or Norwegian?
Yeah, Henrik Larsson is Swedish.
Henrik Larsson is. Henningberg, was he Norwegian?
I don't know who Henningberg is, but Larsson, I know, the old legend.
Yeah. Henrik Larsson was Swedish for sure. I might be getting completely confused, to be honest. But obviously, the great thing about the internet is we can have fans from all around the world on. Just put at the bottom of the screen, guys, please like the video, comment, share, subscribe. It all helps. If you're watching on Twitter, if you can come over to YouTube, that means you can get involved in the comment section. It all helps the algorithm. It helps more people see me, more people see Mick, and more people get free United content. And that's what they want, right? So... as I said, this is the Manchester United versus West Ham match preview, but we can't look forward to the next game without looking back at the last game, right?
100%.
So Sheriff, on Thursday, talk to me. What were your thoughts, mate?
I thought it was a scintillating game. I mean, as I said to you yesterday in All for United stream, we kind of made Old Trafford or Old Fortress again. People coming there with a little bit of fear. The swagger is back. The hairdryer is back. It's like Sir Alex went to the cupboard and then just dusted off the old hairdryer and gave it to Eric and said, "Here you go, son, use it. It works." So, it was good to see that performance, especially goals from Diego Dalot. He worked so hard. He's been consistent. You've seen that he's leaned up. He's bulked up. He's having a great diet. Also great to see Marcus Rashford finally paying dividends, with his strong neck muscles. He didn't even blink. Usually Marcus, as you know, he usually closes his eyes when he does a header. But, Cristiano Ronaldo, happy for him. He kissed, make friends with the badge and the club and the gaffer. And it kind of broke his goal drought. So at the end of the day, we scored important 3 points. So... looking forward for Thursday, going to Bilbao, I think it is, in Real Sociedad. It's going to be a very important game. I don't know how many goals we have to win. Well, is it 2 or, 2, yeah. But, worth to give a shout, it's been talk of the week, the flavor of the week has been Alejandro, though. As what we said, the good old Fergie quote: "If you're good enough, you're old enough." But I still think it's a work in progress. We find ourselves a diamond in the rough, and very excited. I mean, we picked them up for 420,000 quid, like, from Atletico 2020, right? So
Yeah.
that is a steal. Like, that means that looking at the transfer market, there's bargains that you can pick up, and doesn't have to be those 50, 80 million, pound players. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, just look at Lisandro Martinez, like, these South American players. I think we should start looking more at that continent, if you know what I mean, James.
Yeah, I think if you look at the players brought in during the summer, we were begging last season for some warriors, some characters, some tough players, right? Because there was too many leaks. There was so much fragility. Like if we scored first, we'd then concede almost straight away, right? There was a real mental fragility around the club. And you look at people that have come in: Malacia, warrior; Casemiro, probably the ultimate warrior, along with Martinez, superb attitude. Anthony, for someone that is slight, is so strong off the ball. He's very tough. He gets stuck in. I don't know if you saw the clip that was going around Twitter before, but it was Anthony like swearing at someone having a go, and then Martinez going over and pushing Jorginho over. It was like the double act.
Yeah.
And I love a bit of that at the end of the day, because
it's a little bit of a street fight, isn't it? Like,
yeah, you've got to get stuck in, man. You've got to make them realise that if they're coming to Old Trafford, they're coming to your backyard, and you need to put the pressure on from minute go. Whether that's the fans, the players, everyone needs to get around, come together, build this cauldron, and make them feel under pressure. Liverpool do a great job of it at Anfield, right? In the first 15, 20 minutes. If you survive that,
put the pressure,
you usually get a result. Yeah.
The same what Arsenal is doing at the moment as well. Like, the pedal to the metal, the first heavy metal, like, 15 minutes, like, trying to kill the opponent. But just going back what you said, like, the fighting spirit, or the mana, what they say in Latin America, mana. Yeah. So just keep in mind where these players came from. Like, both Lisandro Martinez, and also Anthony Dos Santos, they came from the streets, like Buenos Aires, etc., etc. They played barefoot, like, they used to fight, so they play with that passion, and you can see that on celebration, like, the something that will edge in my mind for years to come was that celebration where Casemiro scored the header, when they all celebrate, and you saw Martinez just crowd surfing. It's like at the guy that's like, oh, I got a kiss from Martinez. What the hell? Like, and he's celebrating with this guy. You know what I mean? But you can tell
from Martinez on Twitter, right? Superb. He basically came out and was like, "Listen, mate, I don't know who you are, but we're in it together." I love that.
But the story behind that, because some people call it emerging markets. It is, but it's a beautiful story when you can take them from a grassroots level, nurse them, take them to Eredivisie, like, and then the final destination, the big stage, United.
Yeah.
And I want to see more of these signings, basically, like, not the clear and obvious signings, which is kind of the Glazer signings.
So I want to ask you something then, Mick, because this wasn't due to be a topic, but someone just brought it up in the comments, and it's been a very popular talking point this week. And you said that, these South American players, they've come from the streets, they play that kind of football. So do you want to see them do it? Because Eagle-Eyed Football, so Rich says, what's all this fuss about Anthony's skill? Let the players express themselves. So
100%.
What's your thoughts on that, mate?
Eagle-Eye, I would say that I don't understand what the ex-pundits and media are going about, because at the end of the day, we've been deprived of having a right winger or a left winger, to entertain us. At the end of the day, we're consumers. Like, we go to a theater of dreams or whatever we want to go to get entertained, right? So football is not robotic, like, it's filled of passion, emotions. And if somebody does a trick like that, of course it's going to lift your bum off the seat. And that's what you want to see, right? That's what we were crying out. So that's why I don't understand, like, Owen Hargreaves and Scholesy and all of them. I said, like, hang on, are you missing something? Like, where's the elephant in the room? Like, we're going places. There's a rebuild. Erik ten Hag is doing fantastic. Even Pep Guardiola is praising him in the last interview, saying, like, look, he's starting to be scared, right? Because he's seeing what Erik ten Hag is capable of doing, right?
Yeah.
So
go on.
So coming back to that, it's just ridiculous, because negative press sells, of course. If United is doing great, that's not going to sell you in the newspapers or clicks. So you got to find something. And we've been seeing that even if we've been winning games, there's always something like, oh, Ronaldo walked out, or, now they found this topic about, he doing a couple of pirouettes, and Scholes is saying, okay, 1 or 2, but 3, yeah, Of course, he didn't place the ball, but it was beautiful to see, right?
Yeah, so
What's your thought about that?
Yeah, I'm going to mention 3 points about it. So first of all, I kind of understand, listen, it's 0-0. You've got to put the game to bed. So I kind of understand people saying, listen, there's a time and a place, and maybe you should do it when you're ahead in a game. That's the first thing. I kind of understand that. However, the whole hysteria around it is absolutely crazy, right? So first thing, we signed a player like Anthony, probably the most exciting player to play for us since Cristiano Ronaldo. He's a get you on the edge, get you on the edge of your seat player, right? So you cannot complain about a player doing something like that when that is the very reason why we signed him. We signed him because he's an entertainer. We signed him because he does stuff like that. So you can't complain about it. And on the legends or the pundits or whatever, you've got to look at it, right? I just think it's really strange. Like, you've got Robbie Savage saying this is Manchester United. You can't behave like that. His son is vying for a place in this first team. He's probably looking at Anthony as like an idol at the moment and thinking, yeah, I can't wait. If only you were my teammate. But his dad's saying this about him, and he's probably thinking like, God, I wish I could do skill like that and play with him and be in the first team at Manchester United consistently. So I think that puts him in a bit of a weird spot. And it's really, really bizarre. So I'm just going to go to the comments because there's quite a few people in.
Yeah, no, I can. Go to the comments and I will hit you with the surprise with a curveball after that.
No worries, man. So Brush saying big up, big supporter of the channel, big up, man.
Thanks, Brush.
James, where you sitting tomorrow if you're going to the game? So I'm in the Stretford end. So behind the goal in the Stretford end, about 12 rows up, 13 rows up, something like that. You'll see me. Just look for the guy with the huge arms, obviously. That must be me. And then, Rich, I'm going to come back to you on this. This is funny. I don't want to spend too long on it, but go and watch the stream from last night on All for United, because I went on a bit of a Donny van der Beek rant because someone asked me where his best position was, and I said on the bench, and I don't think it went down too well, to be honest. But do I think he'll get a fair chance? I mean, we've got the manager to give him a fair chance, but you've then got to look Frank Lampard, Michael Carrick, Ralph Rangnick, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Eric Ten Hag. That's 5 managers now. And if you keep on blaming the fact that he's never got a chance, well, then there's 5 good managers that have probably, we may not have seen enough of him, but they see him every day in training. So I'm kind of leaning towards the fact that I'm going to back managers' judgment on stuff. Also, we need to build a fortress. 100% agree. I think we 100%. Alf saying Martinez is his favourite player. Completely agree. He's been fantastic. We'll stop and talk about this actually just before your curveball. Did you see Pep Guardiola's comments, Mick?
Yeah.
He basically said something like, so he said something like, United are coming. I've seen them against Sheriff and in the first half against Chelsea. United are coming back. I take that at face value. I don't think Pep's playing mind games or whatever. We're not close enough to City for him to play mind games, in my opinion, yet. So I think he was being real. But what are your thoughts about it?
I think he's rattled in a way. Like, in a way, he's also impressed because, Pep is a masterclass winner. We're not here to talk about City or Pep, but we know what kind of manager he is. And if he gives a praise, a comment about Eric Ten Hag and been watching Manchester United suffering the past 6 years and seeing, oh shit, we better be scared about them. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's probably looking at, are they going to challenge us by the end of May? You never know, mate.
Yeah. The way the league is going. No one's invincible, are they? And like you saw City today without Haaland, Leicester could have easily got a result. It was close, that game.
But it's, James, it's the law of physics. It's Newton's law. What comes up must go down, So the ball goes in the net. And we don't know how you can look at the points tally. You can look at it today, but you can't predict it. It's physics, right? The game is played for 90 minutes plus add-ons until the ref blows the whistle. Yeah, that's, just take the 2016 season when Leicester won the league. Yeah, nobody predicted that. So, and the beauty is that nobody expected us to do well, because everyone was looking at the last season and the PTSD and everything that was around it.
So, speaking about things that are unusual and out of the blue, hit me with your curveball, mate. What's your curveball?
Hit me with your best shot. It's Saturday. No, I think it's a beautiful story. I know Junior Pedrosa for Falcon, which is actually Antonis de Santos' agent. I did a photo shoot with Puma in Amsterdam back in the summer. because obviously I work with broadcasting, I work with ESL gaming as well, and esports and FIFA and all that stuff. So I do, and plus I've been working as intermediate, like so, but working on the emerging market with South America. I've always been baffled to say why not the big clubs looking at the South American market. Obviously, for you guys, you need to understand that these players, football is the only chance to get out of, they come from poor, poverty-stricken areas with these gangsters, crimes. Usually the mom is the one that picked them up. So these guys are sleeping with the football, and to get discovered like an early chances, like Junior did with Anthony, like, and he was playing barefoot, like on the streets, playing barefoot on the beach, got his chance, put an arm around the shoulder, nursed him, took him to Ajax, to Eredivisie for cheap fee. So this is what I'm calling like grassroots to the big stage. And that we paid 95 million. Actually, I broke this deal before the press 1 week before, because I was in touch with Junior though. But he explained to me that it was such a beautiful deal because when he made a deal with the mother club, of course they had a 25%. He made this 25% sell on. So that's why they closed it on 90 million, but Junior stopped and say, look, what about the mother club, right? So that's where they had the gentleman's agreement to say, okay, 95. I don't know where they got the 100 from, but there's extra bonuses. But the return on investment, he's a very humble kid, right? He knows where he comes from, right? He knows. He doesn't take this for granted. For him to get this stick, I just don't understand, because that's his personality. Like he's skillful. So are you going to slag somebody because you have your what do you call it, capability, like on being technical gifted, right? Absolutely not.
I'm just going to bring this comment up, mate, because this is very relevant. What do you think about that? Imagine someone telling Ronaldinho not to do skills, or a Cristiano Ronaldo against Bolton on his debut, did about 50 step overs.
Yeah, exactly. Like imagine Ronaldo when he came first, right? He did a few step overs, but Ronaldo when he came, he had the tricks, but no end product, right?
Yeah.
So this is what I'm seeing right now with Dos Santos. Like there's a lot of tricks, but of course he scored 3. Only 3 opening games, right? He scored 3.
The only United player in history to do that, by the way, and that got no press. Yet he does a spin, which results in nothing, either us scoring or them getting the ball. It resulted in nothing. It was a nothing bit of skill. That's got more coverage than him breaking all United records and scoring in his first 3 games. Absolutely crazy, but that's the press for you. So going to move on anyway. But thanks for that story. That was really interesting from someone.
Yeah. Lindelof and Maguire to start.
Lindelof and Maguire.
We got right in. No patience.
Yeah, exactly. We need to because I think I agree with you on this one, or I think we've got the same predicted 11, so it's going to be very interesting. But I pretty much guarantee that all of the comments are going to disagree with us. So who starts?
I'm twisted. I can't predict it, man. I had to put something on paper, but at the end of the day, I just don't know. I'm not 100% sure. But I guess we will know tomorrow because Eric picks the team. You know what I mean?
Right, so let's go over the positives then. What's the positive of Lindelof starting and what's the positive of Maguire starting?
Playing out the scenario, Skamaka, tall presence, physical, Lindelof is not that strong in the air, right? Martinez, he can pocket him, but still there's a big gap in height. But Martinez can jump and I don't know. Maguire's got some mistakes in him, but that's still the PTS from last season. You know what I mean? Yeah. I believe that Maguire has been working tirelessly behind the scenes. We don't know, but people were saying that when he was warming up on the second half against Sheriff, he was doing their 1-2 passes with Rashford and nailed it, everything, left, right foot, right. So the beauty of this Ten Hag system is that, I don't know about you, James, but I've seen every player that came in as a sub knew exactly what to do. They know, the Ten Hag system is working. Personally, I think Lindelof is a ball-carrying centre-back and is more suited to play with the Butcher, right? Yeah. But we've seen it time and time again that Eric picks the right players for the right moment for the right game. So this is kind of a game that will probably suit Maguire because of his physical presence and his aerial aerial presence. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, so I'll give my 2 cents. I think Maguire will start, and I'll give a few
Me too.
reasons why. I think that Shamaka is obviously a very, very big threat aerially. I think we have to go with Dalot, Shaw, Martinez, and Maguire, who are our 4 best aerial players. I also think if you look at Maguire, West Ham, their manager is David Moyes, right? So they're going to play a low block, you would imagine.
Yep.
Which means that our distribution needs to be good. Now, this isn't an argument for Maguire or Lindelof because they both are pretty good on the ball. They're both arguably better than Varane on the ball. And that's not me saying they're better than Varane. That aspect of their game is better than Varane's, okay? So against low block teams, there's a strong case for Maguire or Lindelof to play. Now, when Maguire came on in the second half against Sheriff, and I got shot down for this, shot the Sheriff, love that pun, but I got shot
the Sheriff. But I didn't shoot the
I'm not going to say I'm so out of tune. It's scary. But when he came on, right, he was pretty much faultless. And then Dan last night was like, oh, but he had nothing to do. And I'm like, that's not true. If other players did the stuff that Maguire did, like he made several interceptions, couple of tackles, great distribution to the left and to the right, broke the lines. I thought he was good when he came on. And I just don't think he gets credit because of the PTSD and stuff. And I'm not saying that Maguire should be a starter consistently for Manchester United. He definitely shouldn't be captain, but he should be a squad player, and he does have his attributes. And I think he will play tomorrow. What I will say, though, is when Lindelof has come in, Lindelof has been very good. There's nothing that I've seen out of Lindelof that I think, oh, he's not been good enough, so we should play Maguire instead. Lindelof has been very good. This is just a scenario-specific choice from me. Have you got any final thoughts on it, mate?
I do. I'm contemplating because he hadn't had full 90 minutes as of yet. Yeah. So I can see a plausible scenario that he starts with Lindelof and then second half, depending what the score is, then he throws in Maguire, because to start him from scratch, to give him 90 minutes, he just came back from injury. But he played, how many minutes did he play? 35 minutes?
No, 45. He came on at halftime.
45. Yeah. This is a positive headache for me. You know what I mean? I'm always, I swore to myself in the beginning of the season that I'm going to be Mr. Positive, right? Mr. Optimistic, you know? Yeah. You know, forget about last season. It's a new manager, new system, new team, where everyone gets a clean slate. Like, you know, obviously Erik ten Hag came on board. He assessed the whole squad, as every gaffer does, you know? Yeah. Excuse me for talking, but, you know? No. So we all know that Ragnick was supposed to stay for another 2 years as a consultant, but Erik ten Hag didn't want to do that. Like, you know, he wanted to have a sort of assess the squad on his own merits, nobody to whisper Chinese whispers in his ears, right? So he started with a blank canvas. He had different bucket of paints of colors, and started to mix it right on the canvas. But eventually he kind of understood what is sticking, what is matching, what is not matching. And now we're seeing the masterpiece coming, like the masterpiece, what do you call it? Picasso, whatever you can call it. So for me, this is a tricky one. Like I want Maguire to do well. Obviously, we bought him for 80 mil. And we said that in the stream yesterday, that, you know, the perception of what people are missing is there's a player behind the scenes, like in a personal life.
And the transfer fee isn't his fault, by the way.
It's not his fault. No. And, you know, the level of stick that you get, like we're living in a social media, like it's not Sunday Times papers anymore. Of course, they're going to read the tweets. You know what I mean? And of course, it's getting to your mental health. Well, what happened in Greece over that summer holiday, that's obviously made a dent in his mental health, right? So it's not been an injury in such a sense that it's been a physical injury. I kind of debunked what Erik ten Hag said, like, you know, it's more of a mental issue. We've been talking to him. We've been ensuring him that, you know, he's got a place in the squad. We know how good he is. And now you're seeing it, like, you know. Another thing, what I want to mention is Erik ten Hag's ways of managing players coming back, you know. Why I'm trying to mention this, because there's been 3 or 4 players consistently in the press conferences where Eric is saying, yeah, he's back in training, he's training by himself on the grass with the ball and blah 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 blah, and then you see the start, right? If this was Ollie, for instance, Ollie the legend, he would, I call it Rushford, not Rushford, like rush them in, right?
Yeah.
So he will do anything to play them, even if they could play in one leg to play him. But this time around, we need a full squad, full fit squad, and this is what he's talking about.
I agree, mate.
Him,
I also told you the comments would disagree with me. Like standard, I do understand among the fan base why Lindelof is the preference. I just don't think you're looking at a scenario specific thing, which is what Ten Hag does. And Ten Hag said something very interesting in his press.
1-1 Liverpool.
Is it? Yeah, he said something
scuffles.
very, very, very interesting in his press conference. Where he basically was like, I don't have a Premier League team and a Europa League team. I picked the team that's best for that game. And also, if you look at the second half of the Sheriff game, Maguire came on at right centre-back, and we know that Martinez plays left centre-back. So I think that was a bit of a telltale sign, but I'm not sure. I'm just going to bring this up quickly. James, do you think we'll invest in January, depending on what shape our squad is post-World Cup?
Yeah.
And I don't know at the moment. Like, what I will say, I'll just touch on it and then move on because we've not got loads of time. But basically, if you remember the little beer garden interview with Richard Arnold, he basically said, we can invest this summer. The money is there for whatever Eric Ten Hag needs and wants, whatever he says we're going to do. But in future summers, we need to start bringing on money in. We need to start working on commercial deals, and we need to work on investment before we can then reinvest. He was very, very clear on that, actually. And I'm going to take it at face value there and think that if you think we're going to have two strong transfer windows where we spend 220 million, followed by 100 million in January and another 150 million in the summer, I think you're very, very naive, to be honest. But next, go on, mate.
Do you? How much time do you have? Can I?
No, I have a fair bit of time. We've got a lot of topics to get through, so I didn't.
All right. So what he said when it was filmed in the beer garden was, he said, like, obviously we're going to take it where, we're not going to talk about Glazers. We all hate the Glazers. We know that, right? So, but the filter is gone, basically. The filter between the Glazers and was actually, if we were going to talk about the commercial values, I don't want to mention his name either. Everyone knows who I'm talking about, right? Yeah. So when he got fired, or actually went, Richard Arnold was waiting to make a statement, to make a change, right? Yeah. So you've seen that we have footballing people. Fletcher is a footballing man as well, right? Murta is a footballing man. Yes. He literally said, I go down to Carrington, we burned shitloads of money and nothing to show for. Yeah. But where you kind of misquoting was about the rebuild of the stadium. He said, I need investors. I need a minimum 200 million, right? Money is there for the managers to spend. Now, the media was second guessing all the time. There's some obsession with net spending, but there wasn't a net spending, because part of the Eric Ten Hag's deal, when he signed, the board wanted Pochettino, but the one that wanted Ten Hag was actually Mitchell, right?
Yep.
No,
not Mitchell.
No, Mitchell.
Murta?
Arnold,
okay.
Arnold, yeah. Arnie, yeah. He wanted him. So he made the right choice. Now, obviously, you're a new CEO. You want to sort of make United great again. And trust me that he wants, right? Yeah. But he's basically calling out to the fans to say, look, the owner's not going to dip in the pockets. I need investors. That's it. But the fallacy of the net spend, it didn't exist this summer, because Eric Ten Hag, the deal was what Eric Ten Hag wants, John Murta goes and gets, like a golden retriever. Yeah. To give you the proving point was the Casemiro deal. It just came out of nothing, right? Yeah. So looking at the January transfer window, it's going to be signings. That's what I've been hearing, at least. Yeah. There's going to be a striker signing. That's what I know. Who is it going to be? I don't know. There's Elvis Bosanovic, which is Seshko's agent, has been talks with the Chelsea and United, right? Yeah. Even there's a link coming out now with another Ajax player, right? That was under Eric Ten Hag. So I don't know. We need a striker, mate, and I think we're going to get it. Not even talking about Frankie Dion on loan deal.
No, we definitely. Well, I think that's a bit of a long shot, but that Before we move on, the Frankie de Jong thing is the proof of what you said about Murta and Arnold just basically delivering what Ten Hag wanted. Because if you think about previous regimes under Woodward, I think what would have happened is we'd have given up on that deal and just gone and made a marquee signing for a shirt sale kind of thing. Where I think actually the mistake was them backing Ten Hag almost too much, because that was Ten Hag's man, right? It was very clear that Ten Hag wanted Frankie de Jong, to the level that Murta and Arnold boarded a plane, went to Barcelona to try and finalise the deal. Like, they were all in with what Ten Hag wanted. Ultimately, they couldn't get him. So then they were like, who do you want now? And then the Casemiro thing came up, and thankfully it's worked very well. And that is a perfect segue, because the next topic is, Nick, Casemiro or Clasemiro? Talk to me about
Casemiro, 100%. I don't want to mention the classic picture of him celebrating, like with his giant disco ball head and this mouth like this. We all remember it. It's Casemiro. Let me just give nicknames straight away, Dixon. Like, come on. We have Royce Varane, and we have Aston Martinez. Aston Martin. And we have Casemiro. Okay, and we need to make songs out of it, right? So
yeah, we will. We'll come up with something. But the thing is with Casemiro, right? I got a fair bit of hate on this, because I said when McTominay was in the team, I said that McTominay deserves to keep his place until he does something otherwise. Because whenever Casemiro came in to start, he obviously wasn't up to scratch with the league. La Liga is very different to the Premier League. Now, that was never me saying that Casemiro is worse than McTominay. Casemiro is a miles better player than Scott McTominay, with a miles higher ceiling. We know that. But Casemiro was doing the simple stuff that Scott McTominay does. He wasn't doing that, yet he is capable of doing the stuff that Scott McTominay plain and simply can't do. His passes in between the lines, his vision on a football pitch, his awareness when he's up to speed is very, very different. So at the time, Scott was playing really well, kept his place in the team. Then he dropped a bit of a stinker in the derby. Casemiro came in, and since then, Casemiro has been very good. And you've got to look at performances. The Chelsea first half was good, but that Spurs game, I mean, he was absolutely electric. He's everywhere. And you've got to, I mean, we all knew that Casemiro was one of the best 3 CDMs in the world.
Casemiro, I would say.
Casemiro. We just don't know how long it was going to take him to settle in. But I was going to say, we'll talk about signings of the summer, and a lot of people are going to say Martinez. Some people will say Eriksen on a free, but Casemiro's got a shout as well. And to pick between those 3 is very, very tough.
Can I throw a spin ball back at you then?
Go for it. Perfect.
Casemiro, Casemiro, if we're going to call him Casemiro, it's a perfect example how Erik ten Hag has managed his squad, right? He didn't throw him in straight away after his signing. No, he's kind of bled him in slowly, get adapted to the league, to the teammates. Picture yourself, you're starting a new job, right? It's going to take you 3 months until you get warm into your job and your role and your colleagues, right? Same thing goes with football.
Yeah.
With the exception of Bruno Fernandes that came in January and just hit the ground running.
But then he took a little while in his second season to adapt. So he did it.
On the other hand, he's playing differently under different managers. With the you can see it's more disciplined, right? Under Oli was more freestyle, play whatever you want.
I'm going to go back to the comments again, because Garth's in the chat. Big up, man.
Somebody mentioned Andre Silva,
Yeah, there we go. Garth said, "I'd love to see Andre Silva at Old Trafford."
I'd love to.
You like him, yeah? Yeah, great player. Also, we're going to come on to predicted 11 shortly, but Red Dead United TV saying, a lot of people saying play the kid tomorrow. That's Garnacho. We'll talk about whether we think he makes the team. And this guy, I don't think saw the result today, but said, James, are you scared / keeping an eye on Chelsea this year in terms of top 4 race? All jokes aside, obviously they lost heavily to Brighton today, but they do have a good team. They've got an excellent manager, regardless of whether he lost today or not. Graham Potter is an excellent coach. And once he gets them gelled, they will be a threat. But you've got to look at it. United have got a great manager as well. And if they win their game in hand tomorrow, they go above Chelsea. And if they win their game in hand on Newcastle, they go above them and they will be in 4th place. And at the end of the day, top 4 is in our hands now. So that after the first 2 games of the season, who thought we'd be saying that, Nick?
Nobody, actually. I before this season kicked, I said this is going to be a surprise season, Call me delusional. But just look at what a warm welcome from Graham Potter to come back to Brighton. Here you go, 4-1.
4-1, cheers. See you later.
So yeah, go back home. Go back to Chelsea. Yeah. No, it's going to be a fantastic season. It's very unpredictable. There's so many good signings. forget about Super League. Premier League is the Super League of Europe, definitely 100%. We don't need any Super Leagues. Newcastle, big up for Arsenal, but I don't think Arsenal's gas is kind of getting, the balloon is kind of depleted a little bit. Young squad, doing fantastic. 4th year under Arteta.
Yeah.
Remember that most of the AFTV and all the Arsenal's fans was screaming Arteta out last season.
Yeah.
Fair enough, but this proves if you give the manager time, you start to see things shaping. Listen, I think even what I don't believe in Tottenham. I don't believe in Chelsea. Somebody was mentioning about Chelsea, like like the way Todd Bowley came in and fired everyone. It's even Marina, which is one of the best negotiator we ever seen, was your sporting director. But Jesus, I don't know. It's going to be a surprise, Newcastle, maybe they finish 5th, maybe
playing well.
Yeah, they're playing well.
Yeah, they are. They're playing well, and I'm pretty sure they're probably going to invest in. If they have
today.
half a sniff in top 4, then they're probably going to invest in January heavily because they've got the funds to do so. Someone mentioned Garnacho in the chat, so we're going to move on to a front 3 dilemma, and I'm basically going to say to you, Mick, I'm going to give you 6 players. I'm going to give you Jadon Sancho. I'm going to give you Anthony Elanga. I'm going to give you Marcus Rashford. I'm going to give you Anthony. I'm going to give you Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm going to give you Garnacho. 3 out of the 6. Nice headache to have.
What was the question?
Who are you playing?
Can I have them all?
Yeah. Who are you playing?
Please, Daddy, can I keep them?
Play Martinez at the back? Yeah.
Lordy. Oh, some moonshine. Can I keep them all? Who's going to start?
Do you want some help? There's that comment.
Listen, okay. Sancho, no. I love the guy to pieces, but there's something really wrong with his confidence, or something's going on behind the scenes in his personal life. Yeah. He's looking like a scare rabbit. He doesn't really take the players on. We bought him as a right winger. I don't know. We have enough wingers. Dos Santos will play on the right wing, absolutely 100%.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Rashford will go to the left. I don't see Garnacho giving a start. I would love to. I love the guy to pieces. Yeah. But I see Garnacho coming in the second half because I think Erik ten Hag wants to line up strong, to start strong, to get 1 or 2 in the first half, and then you might see some substitutions.
Yeah, so for me, I brought up
Ronaldo will start. Ronaldo will start.
See, this is the interesting one because I brought up this comment because I'm kind of shocked with this because I personally think Anthony and Rashford are nailed on. I think Anthony's nailed on right wing and Rashford is nailed on either left wing or centre forward. I think he's going to play. We
talked about this yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think he's going to play. So I would actually go with what Garth said. Lovely headache to have. I'd go Anthony right wing, Rashford left wing, and Ronaldo up top. I think that's what I would go for, and that's what he will go for. However, love a bit of this, as well. I think Rashford will play, but I was a big supporter of Elanga from what he did on Sunday. I thought he might have had a chance of starting on Thursday, to be honest. Because
being Swedish and everything, Elanga, of course. Yeah.
But you've got to look at that contribution he made versus Chelsea. I mean, when he went past 3 players and Jorginho had to pull him down, that was more than
oh God, yeah. So remember who his dad was as well, Elanga. His dad was a
player. So literally, it's an interesting dilemma to have. But moving on from that, we're going to go on to predicted 11. So I will put yours and mine both on the screen now.
Are we going to compare now? Yeah.
No, well, I say compare, but we're going to basically talk through it because we've got the same 11. So
how's that? Are you my brother from another mother?
I think we are, mate, because De Gea
just met yesterday, man.
Yeah, De Gea picks himself, right? So that's a given. Back 4, I think Dalot and Martinez pick themselves, right? So we don't need to have a discussion there. Dalot's superb, Martinez is superb, and there's no competition 100%. For either of those. So we've both gone for Maguire and Luke Shaw. We've talked about why we've picked Maguire. Talk to me about why you picked Luke Shaw over Malacia.
Simply because the link up between Shaw and Rashford, it's always been there, like that intelligence between the overlap. I don't think that Malacia is like the pit bull on the bone. He's like, the bone crusher. But he's still finding his feet and finding it little bits. There's still some development in the overlaps and challenging, like, as there, on the bylines. But Shaw has been really, working on his fitness. You can see he shred a couple of pounds.
Yeah.
His diet is on point. I think that is the partnerships that we're gonna see. Plus, he's getting fit for the World Cup as well.
Yeah, and that link up with Rashford down the left has been
Rashford
very
is key.
successful
Yeah.
in the past.
So what you can see is the triangles. That's the formation that we're seeing, like, all over the pitch, like, from playing out from the back, from the midfield, from the right, left.
Yeah.
So this is something that we haven't seen for a long, long time, James. This is very exciting.
Yeah, I completely agree, mate. So the midfield three, I think picks itself. I mean, Scott has played well sometimes this season. Fred's played well this season. Van der Beek had a little cameo. Is there any shout for any of those three, or are they just?
This is what's been eating me for the past hour. Even like I was doing gardening and breaking my back and stuff like that, creating leaves and stuff like that. But I was thinking McTominay against Rice. It's a good matchup, right? Because Rice is a big presence.
Yes.
But then I was thinking, well, I mean, we have world class Casemiro, right? Will handle Rice. So I was thinking, will it be like, because they will line up as usual, like, with the Sofal and Rice, like as a double holding midfielder role, like what we used to do with McFred, right? Yeah. So the only reason is they're going to park the bus, and we to pass that middle is going to be impossible. So we have to find ways around it. Yeah. So therefore, I believe that it will be Eriksen with his passes, with his link-up play. I believe it will be Casemiro to protect Maguire, just in case.
Yeah.
Fernandes, is a given.
Yeah, to be honest, mate, I think all three are a given. I think you summed it up perfectly when you said that they're going to sit back. We need someone that's better on the ball with their distribution, and Casemiro.
Alf is saying here, like, De Gea.
Yeah.
Shaw, Lisandro, Victor, Dalot, Cass, Fred, Bruno, Garnacho, CR7, Antoni.
So the thing is, like I said, is there a case for Fred? I don't think we need Fred in this game because it's not a very high pressing game. We should in theory have a lot of the ball at home at Old Trafford. So we need people that are better on the ball. If we were playing a different game, right, and if we were expecting that a team were going to come on to us, I'm a big believer that Casemiro and McTominay may play together at some point against some bigger teams this season, because I think you can put McTominay in the 8. He offers you quite a lot defensively, more than Eriksen would. You play him alongside Casemiro and try and win that midfield battle completely against the bigger teams. But that's when we're going to be out of possession. When we're in possession, we need people like Casemiro and Eriksen because they're both class on the ball. And we've got another one down below. We've got Maguire in this one. So it just shows it's split between Maguire and Lindelof. And then Eriksen, Casemiro, Bruno, I think, is more likely. And then Rashford, Anthony. Which
even the squad members here in the chat are having some.
Yeah.
David De Gea, of course, is a given. Yeah. Red Dead United, he was Martinez, Maguire, Dalot, Eriksen, Casemiro, Bruno, Rashford, Ronnie, Anthony. That's pretty much our lineup, wasn't it?
That is our team, yeah.
That is big up on you, Red.
Yeah, big up,
Mr. Red.
Yeah, and then he's basically said, I would rest Anthony at 60 minutes, and Fred and Elanga are my wild cards in subs. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really, really interesting.
Yeah. What about Garnacho, wild card?
He's definitely Garnacho a wild card, Elanga a wild card.
Wait. Before we break on World Cup, we're playing in Villa twice, in the FA Cup as well.
Carabao Cup, yeah.
Carabao Cup, yeah. Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, so this is a perfect opportunity to give Donny van der Beek more minutes.
Well, have you seen this comment? Are you psychic? Look at this comment.
Do you think we will see Donny get another fight? Yes, we will do. Donny van der Beek, Donny van der Beek. We want to see Donny give what's Donny's all about, I
want to see him play well under a manager that knows him. He clearly knows what his strengths are. Do I think he gets into that starting midfield? No. Like I said, I think he's 5th, 6th, 7th choice midfielder. But is he going to get some minutes? He can do a job if he does get minutes. So I'm not sure. It depends how the game goes. If the game is tight, I just don't see him getting a run out. I really don't. I think he trusts people like McTominay more. McTominay came on and won in the game against Ammonia. I think he would make the McTominay sub before he makes the Van der Beek sub because he would want to keep Bruno on the pitch. And I don't see him bringing Van der Beek on if Bruno's still on.
I'm gonna throw a little bit curveball to you and your audience here as well. And
Go for it.
just sorry, I'm in form right now. I'm in a
Go
good
for it.
mood.
I'm all for
I
it.
don't know I don't know how many coffees I drink, but I love my coffee.
A lot.
Yeah. Guys, looking at Erik ten Hag, what you've seen so far, we're coming to the 14th round of Premier League.
Yeah.
Can't you see there is a mini Sir Alex in him, right? The way he's conducting himself, the way he picks the team. And then you got to think, who is his number two? McLaren. Who is teaching me all about this hairdryer thing and the cultural,
Yeah.
About United? McLaren.
Mm.
Nobody talks about McLaren. But the thing is, what I want to bring up here is that we can argue all day long who is playing the player FC. That doesn't exist anymore, right? So we know that Eric will pick the team,
Agree.
the best player for the best, depending on the opponents. He said it himself in the presser.
Completely
So
agree.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
So we can sit in and argue like who's going to play, who's going to. But until 60 minutes before the kickoff, we will know who's going to play.
Do you want to
And
know?
I'll be fine with that. You know
Do you
what
want
I
to know
mean?
the perfect example of that, mate? We had a stinker of a game against Newcastle, 0-0. Fred had an awful game. Awful game. The next game we played against Spurs, right? The team news came out. I was outside the ground an hour before, 7:15, the team news came out. Logged on Twitter, went around the ground. Everyone was going nuts. How has he kept Fred in the team? He's dropped Ronaldo. He's kept Fred in the team. He doesn't know what he's doing. Ten Hag out. He's clueless. He's useless. Blah, blah, blah. Fred put in the performance of a lifetime. It was absolutely incredible. We didn't miss Ronaldo. We were coasting like throughout the whole game. It was our best performance in years.
I think
People
you
need
and
to trust in the manager, please.
Yeah, please support the manager. It's a rebuild, we were never supposed to sign up 10 players like Ragnick was saying, no. We are about 1 or 2 transfer windows away for a perfect Erik ten Hag team. That's what I'm always been saying. I don't know if you agree with me, but that's my humble opinion, in a way.
What do you think?
But it just feels good to be a United supporter. You know what I mean? It's just like you wake up buzzing every morning thinking, because this is my second family,
I'm looking forward to games again for the first time in a long time. It's
you've been going there for 26 years. You told me you live
Yeah.
literally like 2 miles away from the stadium, right? You're privileged.
I'm very privileged, but for a while it got a bit tough to be a United fan, and it wasn't. So it was tough in the years, obviously, under several managers since 2013. It was getting tougher. But listen, as a Manchester United fan, I was born in '88. I've been incredibly spoiled. Basically, my whole memory is of Sir Alex and us being either winning the league, competing for the league, or winning cups every single year. That's my memory. So post 2013, it's been tough, but you've got to be able to deal with that. Like, you can't win everything all the time. And I think some fans that are in my era, some are like very, very grateful for everything they've witnessed, like me. And some are spoiled brats and just expect us to win everything all the time. And then they say, oh, yeah, but it's all about standards. We need to keep these standards. It's like people are forgetting that we're playing in the same league at the moment as a Man City team, who are arguably one of the greatest in Premier League history. They're a phenomenal football team at the moment. Hate to say it, but they are a phenomenal football team. So thinking you have a God-given right to win the league.
So if I may share something personal right now, what United means to me, right? So, you're right. I'm not privileged. I never lived in Manchester, right? But, it happens to be that my granddad, he comes from my granddad, right? He was actually, he's from Yugoslavia, Serbia.
Yeah.
Back then. He was actually at the game, the last Busby games when they played against Crvena Zvezda. They call it Red Star Belgrade. He was at the game.
Yeah.
The
away game, the 3-2.
Wow. He was there because my heritage is from Yugoslavia, right? My dad is Serbian, my mom is Australian. Obviously, g'day, mate. But he was there, so it's kind of been passed on to my father. My dad was a semi-professional footballer in the Yugoslavian Radnički Niš. It was called that team. Of course, we're a footballing family, right?
Yeah.
So the joy. When I grew up, my first words were not mom and dad. It was pretty much United. So, he was a massive, Sir Bobby Charlton fan. And, my dad was obviously George Best and, stuff like that. So for me to witness this period of Alex Ferguson period of the greatness and to fall in a drop off where we are now and seeing this picking up again, it means a lot, because when my granddad passed away, the joy kind of passed away. And then, of course, the Glazers and Mourinho and the pragmatics Yeah, it just feels so good right now to see good football. That's all I want to say. It means a lot.
So I will tell you my connection with the football club, right? I know it's a tangent, but yeah, I think you'll be quite surprised if it's a story that you've not heard before, to be honest. So
I forgot to say my brother is a Liverpool supporter. Fuck off.
Get rid of that. So my connection, basically, if you go back far enough, my nana's cousin was a man called Albert Scanlon, who happened to be on the Munich air disaster. He happened to be on the plane, so he was a left winger for Manchester United. He was
You're
one
kidding.
of the no. My nana's first cousin was Albert Scanlon. He was one of the Busby Babes. He was playing left wing. He was on the plane. He survived. He had kidney damage. He had a broken leg and a brain hemorrhage. And he came back. Not only did he come back and play the following season, he played every single game and scored 17 goals the following season from broken leg, kidney failure, and brain hemorrhage. And he unfortunately died. I think it was 9 years ago now, 10 years ago. But that's my connection with the football club, right? So I'm going to link a video below, actually. I did a video with Flex from United View on the Munich disaster. And we did it on the memorial last year. It's probably the video I'm most proud that I've ever done, to be honest, because it's the biggest connection that I have. It's the most important day for me of the year, the 6th of February. So that is why I'm a Manchester United fan. So last season,
beautiful.
It hurt me so much, right?
Yeah, me too.
I would die to play for that football club. I'd do anything for that football club. And people did actually die playing for that football club. So when I see you not running about, not tracking back, not giving your all, leaking stuff to the media, that doesn't fly with me, because I know what it means to me to be a Manchester United fan. I know what it means to millions of others to be a Manchester United fan. So that's my connection with it. It's personal. I'm very lucky to have that connection to the football club. And yeah, you shared yours, so I thought I'd share mine.
No, I'm just getting emotional because I wish my granddad was here to see this change, right? Unfortunately, he passed when it was the bad period of Louis van Gaal and all this pragmatic, So when you're telling this story, I just get emotional to say, like, I know he passed away 9 years, but you wish they could be here to see this.
100%. I'll send the link later on. Honestly, the video is well worth a watch. I wish I could put it on my channel, but it belongs to a different channel. But I'll send you the link. It's well worth a watch.
Appreciate it.
We talk about the Babes before the disaster. We talk about the rebuild after the disaster. Probably the greatest story that's ever been told in football. That a team that was half decimated and that several people died. 10 years later, won the biggest trophy of the lot. It's the biggest story in football. It's the greatest story ever told, and it's well worth a listen. So I will link that in the chat. But to finish on a slightly more positive note, we've obviously got a game tomorrow. I'm going to be there. I'll send a few pictures and stuff in the chat. Score prediction. Come on, positive. Come on. What are we going for, Mick? 5-0, 6-0. Come on.
Did I just freeze?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm Mr. Positive. I'm always going 3-1. This time I said 3-0. My logic and reasoning, because it's at home, the floodgates open, the scoring boots is on, Rashford is on fire, and Ronaldo finally got his goal. I think that does a lot for the confidence. 3-0. I don't care if they're going to park the bus. I think we'll find a way, and the 13th player will be the audience or the crowd, definitely.
Yeah. So I said it yesterday on the stream. I think that prediction is fair enough, but at the same time, I do think we're up against a David Moyes team, a David Moyes West Ham that have played 6 away games this season and have only conceded 6 goals, and they've played some big teams in that time as well. They've drawn one of the games against the Big Six. I think they've lost the other 2 by 1 goal. So I don't see them conceding a lot, but that's just me. United could easily turn it on. They have the players to score several, but I'm going to go for a really nervy 1-0. But a win is a win.
What's the chat thinking? Tell us your score prediction.
Yeah, if you can get it in quickly, guys, because we're going to go soon. But if anyone is in, get your score predictions in, because
I might crack a joke in between while you're coming, because I heard on the rumor side that there's an audition for David Moyes to be the assistant cone layer, Mike, to take over Mike Phelan's role,
Maybe you can. Maybe you can put the cones out, or maybe you can put the free kicks into the box or the corners in
replace Phil Cones.
Yeah, Phil Cones, something like that. But yeah, that's awesome. We've obviously got the game. We've got the game tomorrow. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Like West Ham, listen, there's no easy games in the Premier League. Anyone that thinks there is crazy. Just before we go, mate, because we are going to sign off now, we're coming up to an hour. Do you want to plug yourself one last time for the people that missed it at the beginning and might have joined in?
Listen, I'm not going to tell you to follow me or subscribe. Don't subscribe. Do whatever you want.
But I'll tell you. Go and follow his channel.
I have wicked content. If you're interested about, I do the Football Agent Talk Show when I bring in football agents to discuss. There's a series going out there. I'm actually bringing on part 2 with Garnacho's agent, with Lisandro Martinez agents coming out next week.
Yeah.
I'm bringing on even Anthony Santos agent and all of that. It's going to be the whole season. So I'm very freaking busy in doing what I'm doing. But I love coming on and talking about football. That's it. I just started YouTubing. I don't know anything. I didn't know what I was doing, but obviously I'm learning on the job. So.
Yeah, like we all are, mate.
So,
I'm obviously going to tell you to subscribe to my YouTube channel because I'm on the race to 1,000. And to be honest, I picked up like 80 subs in the last day. So is there a chance we can hit 1,000 tomorrow? I don't know,
please.
Man. It could happen. Like if I'm at the West Ham game and we hit 1,000 and I'm celebrating. So try and do that. Share.
It's something that I want to share with everyone. It's very hard work to drive the content, right? It's more than you think. I'm the fortunate one that I hit 10,000 subscribers, James. But it's been hard work. You unbelievable. But I do it for the passion. I do it for the club. I do it for the fans. Because as I said earlier, it's to provide you with alternatives that everyone is read, no matter where you are in the world. So I'm a little bit of fighting the elitism, you know what I mean, and the negative pundit press and all that stuff. That's a little bit my take on it.
Yeah, I agree.
Thanks.
Mate. But obviously, thank you very much for coming on, Mick.
It's a pleasure, James.
Please like the video, comment, share, subscribe. All helps to grow the channel. But basically, this has been Football and Fitness United. I've been James. He's been Mick. And we will see you next time. And let's hope for a 1-0 or 3-0.
Let's go tomorrow, people. Let's go.
See you later, guys. Take care.
See you go.